Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Project Inspire's Champions of Inspiration program this evening. It is amazing to be back here with you. My name is Yossi Friedman, and it's a true honor to be here with our Champions of Inspiration who are being honored this evening. That is Leiby and Aviva Weiss from Toronto, Canada. Simcha and Aviva Barnett, of course, our dear friends from Project Inspire, educational director of Project Inspire, and our honoree this evening, and of course, our best friends out there in the island, David and Jordanagresson, who are our dear friends, as I mentioned, from out there on the island, somewhere far in Long Island, that's all I know. And of course, Oleg and Olya Saitsky from the hood, from Brooklyn. Wherever you grow up is considered the hood. So it's really amazing to be here with our Champions of Inspiration for an amazing program here this evening. I'm, of course, joined by Rabbi Chaim Samson, the founding director of Project Inspire, here together with me this evening. Welcome, Rabbi Samson.
Welcome. Thank you so much, Yossi. Such a pleasure to be here. And you said it's exciting, but I feel tremendous sense of simcha, of joy, just to thinking about these people. They are such wonderful people. It's just an honor for us that we can honor them. It's our honor. It
really is. And the truth of the matter is that, of course, we chose these people to be our champions of inspiration. But of course, everybody who is involved with our programs are people who are dedicating part of their lives to inspire and be inspired amongst the Jewish people, and they are all champions of inspiration. I feel like those who we're actually honoring tonight are just representative of all of the people who are involved together with us.
And they are great representatives. And as I think of the different we have a rabbi who's taken on the cause, we have people from the religious community, we have people who got involved, and they're all learning together, growing together, and sharing. And it is so beautiful when you think about each one of these different colorful people. It just makes it's a collage of beauty, and it's an amazing thing what these people are doing.
It really is. And I think that you mentioned this, but that people who have been involved, some for 40 years and some for 40 days, are most importantly not only being inspired themselves, but as our motto goes, share with others, and are really inspiring others by being who they are.
That's right. As we always quote Rav Noah, who says, if you know Aleph, share Aleph. And sometimes people say, you're joking, you've got to be a rabbi, you've got to be, and we had the rabbi, but we also have people who are just so authentic and just really understand that there is a crisis in the Jewish world today and I can make a difference, and they're doing just that.
That's right. I think that the most powerful message, really, that that Project Inspire really gives off to people, and more importantly, with these champions of inspiration, these honorees here tonight really personify, is that, when you try to do something, and when you try, I believe that probably everybody here and everybody involved with us said to themselves, I'm sure I'll go, here we have a bottle of Glenfiddich here to drink, because most of our programs include wine, whiskey, with something to do with drinking.
You've got to have a little drinking.
For sure.
What's it worth without that?
We will.
Yossi, let's give it a go.
We're just getting started.
There's not much of the bottle left there. We can finish off in the next few minutes.
Right. I have a Britishman next to me. I'm sure it'll take good care of the single malt whiskey. But I think that, it really gives off that people have taken a step, and they say to themselves, like, I don't know if I could really inspire people, and just to digress over here, is that because of people like who we're honoring this evening, we recently did a program in Palm Springs. The message spread. People in New York are doing something. People in Toronto, they're doing something. Can we do something in California as well? And when you go and meet the people, you forget that they're beginners, and we're already used to, you start to meet people and they're like, if so-and-so could do it, I could do it, I can get involved, I can share. These people were new. And to meet them, and them saying to themselves and saying to you, if they're honest, really, I could come on this trip and make a difference? What do I really know? What do I really have to share? And people who we're honoring tonight exemplify the people who just stepped in. They took a step and they said, we'll give it a try. And the rest is history, because the inspiration that they've given others and really spread has really developed most of the programs that we do today.
I think that's absolutely right. And it's beautiful when we have these 3-day programs where we have people of all backgrounds coming together and, each one learning from each other that you think that, oh, it's going to be, the more religious, they're going to teach the, but it's not. It's that the people who are more religious look at these other people who are coming involved and say, wow, they're interested, and look at how they're inspired, and look how they're beginning to take on, maybe whether say the Shema or whatever it is, the interest and the care, and that they want to understand why, is something that inspires the religious or the Orthodox in a way that's like, they're getting probably more out of it than
totally.
than
And I think
those who are new.
Yeah, and I think that's everyone's revelation when they come on these programs. I want to actually begin this evening's program. We have a special message from who else but Rav Gav, who from his bunker, in Jerusalem, sends a beautiful message. I believe he knows all of I
believe he does, yes.
All the honorees from tonight. Special message from the bunker in Jerusalem. Rav Gav, take it away.
I'd like to sum up Inspire in one sentence. Ordinary people doing ordinary things with extraordinary results. An organization that's been around for almost 16 years running. And what's the common denominator for all those people involved? What's the secret sauce? How are they able to impact and change the course of so many thousands of Jews? The answer is one thing, and that is that they care. That's it. They care. You may be thinking, I also want to help. I want to be able to do for other people and help them grow. But what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't have training in it. I haven't, I don't have experience. What are you talking about? A group of people that just say, how can I help my fellow Jew? That's the bottom line. What can I do to help you? Listen to the following story. My brother shared with me the story at PTA, one of the meetings. There was one of the teachers and one of the rabbis. And one of the rabbis shared the following story. He said he gets a phone call from someone and says, Rabbi, I'd like to speak with you. He says, okay. And he says, come meet with me. He goes to meet and he says, when he comes into the room, he goes, Rabbi, you remember me? The worst thing you want to hear. Sure, of course. You're the... And he's like, I don't know. Who are you? He goes, I didn't expect you to remember. He goes, Rabbi, I'm a student of yours from 20 years ago. He was a student 20 years ago. He said, I want to give you a little bit of insight into my life. I'm a working man, but I started in my community, Daf Yomi, daily page study of Talmud every day. There's a whole group of people that are learning that. I started parent and child learning. I started all different types of projects and programs in my community in order to strengthen the community, the family bond, and the relationship between all the people there and Hashem. And I owe it all to you. So now that he's like, okay, he's like, well, thank you very much. He goes, I want to tell you, there's something you said to me that changed the course of my life. So he's thinking, okay, I showed him the intricacies of the depth of the Torah and the truth and mighty power of the Lord Almighty. He's waiting for it. He says, okay, what did I say to you? He said, Rabbi, I was not the greatest student. I got called into the office again. And I'm waiting to get a whooping. You're going to give me a tongue lashing. I'm going to be yelled at. I'm going to be put in my place. I'm going to be suspended and who knows, maybe even expelled. And I wasn't going in the right direction. And when I came into the office, I sat down in front of you and you turned to me and you said, what can I do to help you? I would love to help you grow. You are great. You have so many wonderful qualities. How can I assist you and aid you to bring out that potential into physical action? What can I do to help you? Rabbi, I could just tell you at that moment, I had no idea what to answer. And I didn't change right away. It took time. But just the thought that, you're not here to yell at me. You're not here to tell me I'm doing something bad and that I'm wrong. But you're here to help me, and you care about me, and you want to aid me in my growth. That was such a paradigm shift for me that I said, I have to do that for other people also. Everything that I've done over the past 20 years, Rabbi, is in your merit. All of us have had teachers, we've had mentors, we've had neighbors, we've had people, we've had many experiences. We've had many experiences. that have formed and shaped the direction of our life. Why? Because somebody actually cared about us. Someone actually cared to take a moment to stop and say, what can I do to help you? How can I help you grow? How can I help you succeed? And I think, my friends, that's it. That's Project Inspire. Ordinary people doing ordinary things with extraordinary results. Why? Because people feel cared for. People feel like they matter. People feel like something actually makes a difference. And if we go ahead and we're able to do that to somebody else and pass that on, then we've known that Project Inspire was really a success. Not only that we are impacted, but we are impacted so much that we want to go ahead and impact other people. I want to give a tremendous shout out, big shout out to the honorees over here. Rav Simcha and Aviva Barnett. I mean, I know you guys for years, you've done amazing things. David and Jordana, Oleg and Olya, Leiby and Aviva. All you got to do is care. All you got to do is extend yourself a little bit more. It's not a matter of knowing the depths of Kabbalah. It's not about understanding the mystical underpinnings of astronomy. I mean, that too. That's the next level. Rather, it's about caring, and it's about willing to go ahead and say, I care so much, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to reach out to another Jew and say, what can I do to help you? Congratulations and continued hatzlacha, not just to the organization, continued success for every person who's watching this. Y'all should be blessed. You should be blessed in a way that not only that you should be impacted, but you should have the ability to impact others.
Thank you, Rav Gav. As always, a pleasure, both in person, on camera, from the bunker, live. We'll get to see you both very soon. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that message. Right on point. We'll move on here, Rabbi Samson, because with our first honoree, because I feel like we should start with Rabbi Simcha Barnett. I like to tell people, I'm scared who's going to watch this video, that I speak to the people on staff more than I speak to my own family. But of course, that's just the way the world has it. Rabbi Simcha Barnett is a person who, as you know, went through Esha Torah, someone who was a banker and his life was heading in one direction, put that on hold, went a different direction, as many who went through Esha Torah, but has not just said, oh, look at that, my family, and what a beautiful family he has. And I myself have had, I believe, not all the Barnetts, but at least 3 of the Barnett boys eat in my house in Yerushalayim for Shabbos. What a joy to have them there. So, some people say, like, what a beautiful family. I sort of did mine. I put the brakes on my life as a banker. I went to Esha Torah, got inspired, built a beautiful family, of course, with his wonderful wife, Aviva, who not only is really the anchor of the entire household, as many of our wives are, but also someone who has spent time on our trips inspiring people and has a lot to share themselves. They've dedicated their lives really to figuring out how do they take that inspiration that they got so long ago and pushing that forward. And of course, in Project Inspire, as the educational director, Rabbi Simcha Barnett gets the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think back to, I don't know, is it 30 years ago when Simcha walked into Esha Torah? And even then, it was clear, we all knew this guy is a gem. And he hears things, he listens to what is being said, and he's going to do something about it. But I think that one of the things that we all appreciate and respect about Simcha is just that he's such a clear thinker. Whether it's strategic thinking, whether it's his educational understanding and taking Torah and really making it real, that people will grow from it and how to divide it up. He really has a genius. And to be honest, his wife is also of the same caliber, of someone who's really a genius in terms of being able to take Torah and share it. And the way they've done that, whether it's their Shabbos tables or all of Project Inspire and Esha Torah, how many branches Simcha has opened up. It's really quite incredible what he's done with his life. It's a role model to all of us.
Amazing. And the truth is, I remember recently, it was actually on the Tampa trip, where I had a friend of mine, FFB, who came on the trip and was learning with his chavrus as we do one-on-one learning on the trip. And he turned to me afterwards and he says to me, Yossi, who put this thing together? And I said, Rabbi Simcha Barnett. Who else?
Right. And I think as a Talmud, as a student of Rav Noach Weinberg, he's someone who's, in the Aish Torah world, we are very fortunate that he's become part of Project Inspire, and he's able to share the wisdom that he, as a student of Rav Noach, he absorbed so much wisdom and life understanding from his Rebbe, from his teacher, and he's incorporated it in a very profound way. And it's a great honor for us to have him as part of our team.
Amazing. And, like my friend said to me, it's the first time in my life I actually understand what Kiddush is all about, which is what that piece of education was about. Okay, so without further ado, we'd like to go to our honoree film, Rabbi Simcha and Mrs. Aviva Barnett, our champions of inspiration.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Simcha Barnett, the Educational Director of Project Inspire. I was really secular, and I was the last person that my friends would have ever believed would have become religious. I remember when I was back in Israel, my first Shabbat meal ever, I was invited to a Shabbos meal in the Old City. A gracious, beautiful meal, 10 or 15 people, and the man was about 50 years old, had a white beard, and I asked him at one point, I said, "How long have you been a rabbi?" So he said to me, he laughed, he says, "What makes you think I'm a rabbi?" So I said, "Like these books, from corner to corner, maybe I'll think you're a rabbi." So he said, "I'm a lawyer from Philadelphia." So it hit me very deeply, because I realized a lawyer from Philadelphia, if he thought these books and these concepts were valuable and relevant, I kind of figured I would take a second look at this. I was very taken with Rabbi Weinberg's approach.
Rav Noach's mission was to awaken the sleeping giant, to help us bring everybody back to Hashem.
When we did get married, my wife's a Jersey girl from Fairlawn. So we started the branch of Livingston. Took about 6 years there. I started working for Project Inspire about 12 years ago. Initially, we were reaching out to the Frum community, really trying to get them to understand the gravity of the situation in Klal Yisrael today, and the fact, more importantly, they can make a difference. Not only is it not a second best to be a balabas, to be a regular Yid, reaching out to a not yet affiliated Jew. It's better because you can share common life experiences. We found this magical formula, and we sort of shook it up, put it in a bottle, and we decided we would run 3-day trips all across the United States. When we meet these people, my wife and I, we just want to spend time together. And they want to spend time with us, and we spend time with them, and we have them over for Shabbos. Many of them, I'm a sports guy. I've always been a sports guy, so I play tennis with these guys.
After seeing Rabbi Samson, it turns out that after speaking about sports, I mentioned I play tennis and this and that, and he says, "Wow, do you know Simcha Barnett?" He's lovely with the Rebbitzin, Aviva, and my wife just became very dear friends since then, and the rest is history. Together they, I would say, completely changed my life, my wife's life.
Truthfully, that's the essence of Kirovit. You can boil it into relationship. That's it.
I also love their mission, that it's about mutual inspiration, meaning this is not like we're coming and we're the experts on life. I'm coming with my Yiddishkeit and you're missing something, so let me give it to you. That's not what Project Inspire is about. It's about mutual inspiration, that they're the experts on their lives and they're bringing something to the table, and the fact that we can become friends and we can get to know each other, we can support each other. You should see this group. Every time someone has a wedding, a chasana, they're all there. Someone dies and there's a shiva, they're all there. And it's amazing.
Simcha and Aviva Barnett are the perfect example of that. They live it, they breathe it, and they just affect everybody around them with it.
For some reason, he approached me and asked me to learn with his mother. And I said, "Oh, I feel so honored and so old." Little did I know that his mother is the youngest, most wonderful person. She really changed my life. And we become very close friends. She feels that I've changed her life, and I feel that she's changed my life for the better. And I'm very appreciative of that, Rav Simcha.
Rabbi Barnett is an amazing man, has been incredibly inspiring to me, and has opened my eyes to a form of Judaism that I never knew existed.
All they want to do is make a difference for Klal Yisrael. Like, that's what they live for. But they do it in like a refined, quiet way.
We do a lot of work together in bringing men together on Long Island, and he's works tirelessly. I don't think people realize how much he does behind the scenes to put things together. And he does it with such sincerity and such love.
His ability to connect with everybody is just incredible.
My life has changed completely because whatever I've learned from them, I impart on my family.
They just exude, everybody is wonderful and everybody is, brothers and sisters, and we're all part of Klal Yisrael, and they just look to make everybody feel good.
I went on a trip with Samson Barnett, but very quickly Aviva became part of the picture because we were invited back to their house for Shabbos dinner. In my old life, if you would have asked me if I celebrated Shabbos, I would say yes. But it wasn't the same as when I got invited back to Simcha and Aviva's house and had Shabbos and felt the joy and the warmth. And at that point, you're not thinking about what else you may be missing. You're not thinking about, hey, I'm not watching TV or I'm not driving or whatever. You're not thinking about the negatives. You're thinking about how amazing it is to connect with people. And then later on, you're realizing how much that's missing in the rest of your life.
I think my first Shabbat dinner was in her house. Definitely my first sukkah was in her house. And we continue to spend Shabbos with them, and they're our dear friends.
We go to the Body and Soul Shabbatons. I jump at the chance to take an explanatory service with Rabbi Barnett. We go to their house for Shabbos. They are absolutely a blessing in our lives.
The goal is that you want to walk away that you feel you've connected with this person.
His personal life experience, he's come from a place where he wasn't from yet, and he had his own journey, to where he is today. I think because he's gone through it as well, he's able to really connect.
Aviva has she comes from the same background as I do, so I can connect easily with her.
They were exposing us to Israel and to Torah, but in a way where we were able to be where we are. Some of my closest friends, lifelong friends, formed from this amazing trip.
We both have a tremendous amount of Karas Tov, the opportunity that you're given to be able to make a difference in the world. How many people could say that they have a job that's meaningful? How many people could say they have a job that they connect with people and they're happy, they become their friends?
We're fortunate. We're fortunate and we're grateful to Pride Inspire for the opportunity to affect other people to get in the game.
They should continue doing their Avodas HaKodesh and helping us grow as from people so that everything that we grow can kind of overflow and affect everybody around us.
I just wish that they should have the koach to continue doing what they're doing, making a difference person by person, family by family, and recognizing how much they're appreciated by the people whose lives they touch.
And continue just inspiring Klal Yisrael.
And that, of course, is our first champion of inspiration for tonight, Rabbi Simcha and Mrs. Aviva Barnett. Really unbelievable. And of course, that film is exactly what Rabbi Samson and I were discussing, exactly what the Barnetts exemplify and as ambassadors of Project Inspire and all that they do. It's one thing to get a family member on the phone to discuss it. It's another thing to get a family member who is a twin brother and looks exactly like his brother who's being honored, no less a champion of himself. Rabbi Michal Barnett, are you with us?
I am.
Amazing. So good to have you here today with us on a day that we're celebrating together with you and, of course, your families and, of course, all Project Inspire. And for that matter, all of Klal Yisrael, for Simcha and Aviva Barnett here with you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Really our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
I want to ask you, Michal. I know I'm not going to harp on so much the fact that you look exactly like him because we'll switch that up another time. But I want to ask you like this. You, like your brother, have had journeys and have both, in some way or another. But let's talk about Simcha and Aviva for a moment. Have really channeled the inspiration that they've gotten over the years to be able to be a shining light onto so many people, both individually, have inspired, and he brought back to Judaism, connected to Judaism, so many people on their own. And now as an organization within Project Inspire, really being able to, from a wholesale standpoint, really put that out to so many Jews. What does it mean to you to watch Simcha and Aviva really do this from a standpoint of a family?
It's extraordinary. I was thinking about it. It's 25 years. People commit to things for a year, 2 years, 3 years. They've been at this for 25 years, and they've been at it because they believe so clearly and deeply in the mission. Judaism is the most amazing thing you can share with anybody, and they know that in their bones. So we're so amazingly happy for them, and they're big role models for us.
What is it, do you think, that, Simcha has a lot of very fine qualities? We in the office, we call him like the genius, because he's always coming up with ways of looking at things which are unique and also so emistic, so truthful, so on target. It's great to have someone like that on the team who's always telling us, well, this is the way I think you should look at it, and it's a great pleasure. What do you think has enabled him to have such a great effect on Jewish people, and to be able to keep going in the way that you've described?
Great question, and I think the issue for Simcha is he has a great clarity. The brother has a great clarity, and he knows what's important. He understands the truth, but he also is very practical. And so Simcha can blend a very clear focus on what's true and what's right, but he can also realize what's practical and what has to get done. So those two things together make him not only a great thinker and a great ability to inspire people, but very relatable, and as well his wife.
I think he's not an armchair philosopher, even though he has the brains to sit and think about things and to come to clarity. But it's all in order to do, which I think he's a naasev nishmis. He listens and he does, and he takes it to the next step. Always think, what do we need to do next? I think that's very true.
So right, and his wife is in many ways so similar and empowering and insightful.
Amazing. Michal, is this something? I mean, is this something that you saw in Simcha, moving forward, going through the inspirational times of his life? Did you see this ability in him? And what struck you most the first time he went in this direction?
It really was Simcha's clarity. People have two ways about them. They can see what's true and they can hit the snooze. And we all do that a bit. But Simcha really didn't. When he saw what was true, when he realized that Torah was the way to go, he not only realized that he had to commit his life to it, but he realized he won the lottery, and he was the richest person in the world. He just had to share
that's so
it.
beautiful.
Amazing.
So beautiful.
Amazing. I mean, Michal, we'll get to you another time, but you in your own right have really, shared that as well and been able to spread the light together with your entire family. I understand that your mom is now involved in Chavrusa learning through Project Inspire as well. So the light keeps shining forward.
Right. Perhaps we can make a little l'chaim.
We
do wine, whiskey, and wisdom. We're here, we do a little whiskey. And Michal, we're going to make a little l'chaim to your brother and to all the honorees. And we thank you. As Yossi was saying, your involvement has been amazing for Project Inspire. So it's a family thing. And we thank you for being here today and taking our call, so to speak, and speaking about your brother and for everything that you and your Rebbetzin do. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. It's our pleasure.
L'chaim, you'll have to do it at home on your own. But l'chaim, ad mei v'esrim, until 120 years.
Amen. L'chaim. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
You bet. Take care, Michal. L'chaim to them.
L'chaim.
I mean, we should be careful.
Wow.
We should be careful with the l'chaims. We have another 3 honorees.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah,
we're just getting going, Yos.
Totally going. Okay, and as you mentioned, Michal and Simcha and the whole family, I just recently saw a post on one of our 3-day retreats that Mrs. Barnett, Simcha's, and Michal's mother, has a learning partner through Project Inspire.
Yeah, and just don't forget that Mrs. Barnett, Rebbetzin Barnett, has led trips for us as well in amazing ways. So, we have so much to thank her for. Apart from just supporting Simcha and the family and everything, it's really quite incredible.
And Chaim, as I mentioned, just the light keeps shining, and amazingly, so many more people are getting involved, both close at home, both far away, are really getting involved. And without further ado, I want to go to our next champions of inspiration, our honorees for tonight, David and Jordanagresson. And you mentioned this before on the top of the program, that there are many people who have grown up with Judaism and connected to Judaism their whole life, and there are those who sort of more recently came on board, but no less are active in spreading the light and everything that they've learned. They never, ever, the Gressons never, ever looked around and said, well, I only know very little, or I only recently have a connection, therefore, I don't know if I'm the one to be able to get people involved.
Right. I think that both of them have a character trait of do the right thing, I don't care what anybody else thinks. And not because I'm actively not, trying to resist social pressure. They just the whole beings are, I'm here to do what's right. You tell me what's right, I'm ready to do it. And that's come through in so many ways with David and Jordana. I mean, first of all, I love them. And David's become a very close friend of mine. And there's nothing that I would enjoy more than just spending time with David, because he's such a wonderful person. But they've really taken on, they hear, they're growing, whether it's growing in their own Judaism for themselves, or whether it's just really getting the concept of Project Inspire, which is share. Right. I know that when we actually spoke to them about honoring them, David was talking about how they're starting to really have Shabbos guests, and they have made a commitment that once a month they're going to have a whole bunch of guests because they've got to share this. And Jordana had just been on a trip to Israel as a madricha, as a leader, and she's, to me it brought tears to my eyes because they just get it and they want to share, and they're really role models for all of us.
It's amazing, and I will tell you, and I don't know if there'll be another, but I've never been involved with anyone on a trip who then said, you know what, this is so great, I want to bring my rabbi.
Right.
I don't think we've ever had that on a trip.
It's unbelievable.
I've had my neighbor.
He brought all his friends. Right. He did a whole trip. It's unbelievable.
Right. It's amazing. And to watch Jordana's attitude as well with the women, like you said, as a leader and as someone who, as a community member, really are top notch. So really, for me, I know from yourself, Chaim, is that it's an honor for us to honor the Gressons here this evening.
They are the best.
Really, and let's see a short clip from David and Jordanagresson far out on the island.
I grew up Reform, didn't like Hebrew school. After Bar Mitzvah, didn't really do much as far as religion except for the high holy days.
I always say, we would have the brisket at the holiday, and that was the holiday, but there was really no meaning behind it. So I always felt really proud to be Jewish, but I also felt disconnected. We started to get involved just in our own religion more when our daughter said she wanted to go to Hebrew school.
We sent our daughter to the Chabad, and she loved it. And I said, you know what, maybe I should go meet the rabbi, see what this is all about. I got involved, became friendly with him, and that's when I guess the spark started in me, where I was getting more interested, just meeting some wonderful people. It kind of whet my appetite. When I met my business associate at the business event, and he told me about the JWRP trip, that's what I said, maybe I'll check it out.
And he came home like a changed person. He couldn't stop talking about the trip and how amazing it was, and how amazing the guys were, and the presentations, and how much Israel was so wonderful. He had never been there before. And so he said, you have to go on this trip. And I said, I don't know, I'm not really sure if I want to go, and I'm nervous about it. And he literally signed me up. The trip really was amazing, but I was sick, unfortunately. I think I got sick after maybe just the second day on the trip. Fever, the whole deal.
The second level trip came up, and then at that point I called her and I said, I know you had a very awkward, uncomfortable situation your first trip, and I said, would you care to do a do-over and be my roommate? And she said, I would love to. So that was the beginning of our friendship, and we became ultimately best friends. And since then we have been on many trips together. We've always roomed together, and we're like inseparable.
I just keep learning, and now I just want to learn more and more. All of what I've learned, all of the Judaism through Project Inspire, all of the inspirational talks and everything put together, it's really just made me a better person, and I think that's what it's all about, and that's what I'm working on.
For the average, certainly from person, but for anybody, you get to a certain age in life, and you tend to think like, okay, this is who I am, and I'm just gonna kind of ride it out. And I think if there's one thing you can learn from David and Jordana, that's a really unfortunate and misguided way to view life. It's just never too late to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna change now.
Jordana and Dave are incredible people. They are such givers, and they are so open to learning and growing.
They've opened up their home to us so many times, and my wife and I have become very close with them. Every time we leave there, we feel a little more inspired, or a little smarter, or just a little more connected.
Remarried under the auspices of an Orthodox setting at the Yesh Center, and David walked me down the aisle, and it was a part of history in my family's life, and just, I don't have to tell you the love and the feel I have for the Gressons. With Jordana, with David, it's to us, it's family.
He's just learned and grown and changed, and he's just, you know, a better person for it. Now he goes to shul every weekend. He's there every Saturday. He's actually now the gabbai in our shul.
My life looks very different because of him. He's very real. He has a great sense of humor. He will bust your chops, and he will also be as supportive a friend as you could ever have.
He's very sincere, and he's so good. You know, he's just such a good guy. He's so easy to like.
He just brings a lighthearted attitude towards everything, and he is someone who is a role model for me.
Jordana is one of the most humble, loving, caring people I know. She always knows where my glasses are when I can't find them.
She's really stuck with it, you know, and she's grown, and she wants to learn, and she wants to turn her life, evolve.
She is the one that deserves to be honored, because of, if it wasn't for Jordana, I wouldn't have been able to go. She is definitely the spearhead in our family. She brings it all together. She organizes whatever needs to be organized. Everybody loves Jordana. It was the end of 2018 into 2019. I had sinus cancer, and it was pretty stage 4, and went through some pretty difficult physical treatments.
I remember when Dave got sick. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand why. I didn't understand how. And I was very, 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 very upset. And our whole community was upset. And people came together to rally around him, to give him the strength to get through, whatever he needed to get through. And I saw people, coming to his house to learn. There were prayer groups started on his behalf.
Our trip from 2018 did a regular learning on Lashon Hara for a year. And that was kind of, first of all, the lessons were wonderful, but the inspiration and seeing David get better as we were learning about that was certainly something beyond this realm.
Having the Project Inspire friends praying and learning on his behalf, and that he was able to see that, really kept his strength. And he was really the strongest person I've ever seen, going through what he went through. He really stayed tough.
The reason why I knew it was going to be okay is because of all the learning that I've done.
The way he carried himself through that time was inspiring. He never complained. He always was looking forward. He was like, bring it on, bring on the medication, give me what I need, because I got a lot of living to do and I've got a lot of things to do. And I found that to be, very inspiring for me and really helped, shape how I see the world today.
To be honored like this and to be able to support an organization such as Project Inspire, it's a no-brainer. Can't thank them enough.
I wish for Dave and Jordana that they should continue their growth, that they should continue to embrace their community and reach out to their community and make a big connection and continue their link with Project Inspire and inspire their children and their families and continue to inspire their friends.
Wow, and that of course is David and Jordanagresson from out in the island. David and Jordana, we love you and we're proud and honored to have you a part of us. Of course, Rabbi Samson, that I got a phone call just to speak about the friendship. Is that I actually had the Gresson's daughter over in Yerushalayim in my house for Shabbos. It's really it's like close friends reaching out, and saying, "Could you have my kid?" Normally, when my friends call me in Israel, and I haven't spoken to them in a while, I said, "Oh, hi, Avi, how you doing?" And I say, "Where's your daughter in seminary?" Because obviously they're not calling to say hello; they're calling because their daughter needs a place to eat. But
where was Gresson? Where were the Gressons?
No, she was in Israel,
very nice.
And she was in Jerusalem for Shabbos, and she came by with friends. We had a spectacular time. We look forward to many more of that. David and Jordana, thank you so much. I want to move on over here. Of course, I want to bring in somebody who really is a segue to our next honoree, next champion of inspiration of this evening. But before we do that, of course, we'd like to make a l'chaim for the Gressons out on the island.
Absolutely. To
L'chaim.
David and Jordana, thank you. Thank you so much.
You guys are amazing. L'chaim.
L'chaim,
Till 120
l'chaim,
in
l'chaim.
good health, David, in good health.
L'chaim.
Okay, we'll see if we can make it through all 4 champions of inspiration while still
Thank you,
standing
David.
or sitting straight. Okay, and with that, I want to move to Brooklyn, New York, for, of course, Oleg and Olya Saitsky, who have been involved with us. I want to bring in, we have on the phone with us now, Shalom Horowitz. Shalom Horowitz is one of our Project Inspire leaders, somebody in Brooklyn who has really taken the bull by the horns, but has been involved with the community over there as well. Shalom, are you with us here on the phone?
Hi, Yossi. How you doing?
Great. I'm here with Rabbi Samson. I'm here with Chaim. And
Hi, Rabbi Samson.
Hi, Shalom. How you doing?
Great.
Great to have you on the phone.
Yeah, so we're segueing back into Brooklyn, New York, of course, speaking about Oleg and Olya Saitsky. And I want to ask you, Shalom, you know many people, you've been around the block, so to speak. You've been involved in outreach. You've been involved in spreading the light of Judaism to many. When you watch, a couple such as Oleg and Olya in Brooklyn, people who have, I don't want to say more recently, but of late have gotten more connected, but are certainly not satisfied with that, and certainly have taken it to the next level. What does that mean to you, someone who has been involved in Yiddishkeit and Judaism since you're born? What does that say to you as a community member?
So the first thing that comes to mind when you talk about Oleg is truly one of a kind. I've gotten to know Oleg over the last couple of years on some of our 3-day trips that I've been on and the wine, whiskey, and wisdom events that we've had. What a unique and special guy. We have a saying in Yiddish, it's called Sagat and Salit. It's somebody who is, successful, accomplished, doing, and then at the same time, growth-oriented, focused, and, you can hit, I've seen it done, I've done it. If you can ask Oleg at any given time for a Dvar Torah, and he will belt one out that is thoughtful, inspiring, and on point. At any given time. He's a unique person. He's fun to be around. He's incredibly successful and incredibly growth-oriented. He's just an inspiration to be around. And I consider him a close and dear friend.
Amazing. And, you mentioned this, Shalom. It's also, clear when you're around Oleg is that there's something that is catchy around Oleg. Meaning it's not only he has what to say, but somehow you're drawn in by what he's involved in.
You could see how people in a group react to his energy. And yes, he draws people in. He is so well regarded in all circles. People love being around him. He's just uplifting. He's one of a kind.
I think that the expression that comes to my mind with Oleg is, I think we call him the Pied Piper, because he has a way of just bringing in so many people. I know that you yourself, Shalom, have done wine, whiskey, and wisdom evenings at your house, and I remember following yours. I think one of the next ones was at Oleg's house, and it was just sort of like we kept having to bring out more chairs and more chairs because there's more and more people, whether they were religious or less affiliated, whatever, they all come because they're all accepted, they're all friends, they're all part of it. And I remember it was just like, how many people can you fit in this house? But it was so beautiful, and it was really a tribute to Oleg and Olya that they just, there's something about them that draws people in. I think they have a humility about them, and which is just sort of like touches you. And when Oleg says, let's do something, people say, let's do it. We're in.
Sign me up. We're in.
Sign me up. Right. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, that's how we know Oleg, and of course, Olya as well. Is busy hosting in her house.
Oh, yeah,
and,
amazing.
Like nonstop. Their house has really become a center for that type of inspiration, Shalom, that you're describing.
Yes, I've been to their home. I've been to their home, to the lake house upstate, and the same energy that we've just described. Their kids are just into it. They're fun to be around. They're growth oriented is like a word that I would use to describe them.
Beautiful.
As a family.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything that you continue to do, and thank you for being there for them and for the rest of the community, and for being so close to us. We really appreciate it, Shalom. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. All the best.
Great. And that's really, exactly what Shalom was describing is that, when you look at a person, the Pied Piper, when you look at a person, they're like, how can we use this burst of inspiration to spread throughout a community, Oleg and Olia's house,
Right.
that's what
He's a real leader, and he takes. But what I love about him as well is just not the fact that he gets others to do it, but he himself is he's learning, he's growing. He went through the whole Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. I think he's always learning and teaching in a way that's quite remarkable. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went through Shas. I think it's highly impressive because sometimes people are people who they can be out there, but their own personal growth as well needs a little bit to be. But
Shalom mentioned that, meaning
it's really quite amazing.
Accomplished and at the same time very growth.
It's amazing. It's really amazing, and it's a great schus to have them as part of our organization.
I went to Sinai Academy. I was, graduated from Sinai in '96. There afterwards it was college and work, so religious education was not really there. The way I learned about it is one of my close friends, Eric Inkilovich. We had a dinner together, and he said, "How about we'll go to Israel in March?" I'm like, "Why would we go to Israel in March?" And he said, "Well, there's this program called Project Inspire where you go." You learn about Israel, you study Torah, you go to Aish, they take you all around, and it's going to be a great time. It was probably one of the most inspirational weeks I have ever had. And in here, all of a sudden, for the first time ever, I was in this amazing, holy, spiritual place, surrounded by an unbelievable company, and given this opportunity to learn, and at the same time, I was given time. Comes February or March of next year, and I see that the lady's having a trip. So what I do, I'm like, I have to force my wife to go onto it.
I was not looking for anything like this. In fact, Oleg decided to send me on a trip as a gift to himself for his 40th birthday. He said nothing would make him happier. First of all, I said, I'm not going anywhere. Come on, we have a life, we have homework,
So I said, I promise you it's going to work out. I'll take a week off from work, whatever needs to be done.
Next question is always, well, who am I even going to go with? So in my head, that was out of the question. But Oleg proceeded to go ahead behind the scenes and ask my girlfriends if they would like to go with me. And before you know it, 6 of them said yes. When all said and done, I ended up going on a trip courtesy of my husband with 6 of my very close friends, and we had an unforgettable experience, which we all, as it turned out, needed very much.
We also went to Israel together, and you took a role as a city leader. Every morning, you were up at 4 o'clock in the morning, waking up for Nate's and running to the minyan, running to the kotel in order to go daven. But you made everybody get up with you, and you made everybody come along and take achrayas. You took achrayas for each and every person, that they had to be part of your mission.
Oleg and Olga are very inspiring, and they're spreading Yiddishkeit in the most beautiful and gentle way.
They're an amazing team. They say they complete each other. From day one, they are always Basher.
Him and his wife are very magnanimous. How many times they've opened up their home to Project Inspire. How many times they've made events for Project Inspire.
Their house was always open for everybody, including us and all of our friends.
Both of them are very welcoming. They're very pleasant to be friends with, just to interact.
They're just incredible human beings. We're blessed to have them in our lives.
And I can't tell you the countless lives that have been changed by Oleg and Olya Sietsky and their involvement of being Jews, of taking responsibility, and being players in the mission of Hashem and the responsibility of what Hashem has to offer the Jewish people with the Torah HaKadosha.
His ability to just always be, positive, first and foremost. One of the most positive people I know. And, encourage people in a way where I've seen change in a lot of people where I just never expected it, myself being included.
He's relentless at getting people to see God the way he sees them.
Just being around him just makes you want to do things, just makes you want to go, just get up and do it. He just inspires you, he just brings something in you, like I need to get up and go, just do it, learn, get better.
His ability to speak to on all levels, right? You can have zero knowledge about, being Jewish. You can have a lot of knowledge. You can, you know laws, you don't know laws. Oleg will speak to you in all the levels.
He learns a lot, and he finished Shas twice, Dafyomi. So anytime he learns anything interesting, he always, he would take extra time to tell it to us, either in a WhatsApp chat room or if we're sitting together. He would, when we get together and we're like having fun, he would always find time to say Divrei Torah.
Oleg has always been amazing. I mean, there's friends and then there's family. So this is a friend that is my family. She's a sister.
Olga is always calm and laid back. She is showing by an example. She's being who she is, and by being who she is, I get inspired to be also relaxed and be calm and be connected and spread the message of Torah.
Outside of just being my best friend, she's there for me through highs and the lows, and she's the one that basically sort of pushes me on to achieve the next level. And with that in mind, anything that I have ever achieved, it's all her.
I think they're the perfect example of, project inspired, honorees. Because, looking at them, people wish they were like them.
You have a combination of completely non-religious people, and then you have very religious people. And somehow in between, you try to come in, and what you learn is if you come in from a very religious background, you take in this experience that non-religious people have, and you grow from it. So all of a sudden, this is where that amazing push happens. And it takes it on to a different meaning, because now instead of just doing mundane things or going to shul 3 times a day because you need to pray, you understand, wait, I'm going to speak to God. So all of a sudden your prayer changes. Your prayer changes, the way you connected to God changes.
You give and you get kind of experience. It's reciprocity all the way.
I wish that Hashem should bless them with infinite blessings and strength to continue doing what they're doing and inspire people and spread the beautiful message of Torah and Yiddishkeit and help people change their lives.
I was so proud of you, Oleg, so proud of you, Olya, of how you've taken a responsibility towards your own personal Yiddishkeit and shared it with everybody else. It should be a schus, a merit for both of you, for all the wonderful work that you do. On behalf of the Jewish people, you should be blessed ad belidai.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is Oleg and Olya Sayitsky out of Brooklyn, New York. Thank you guys for everything that you continue to do for us and for all of the Jewish people. It's really inspirational, amazing. We can't say enough to thank you. What we could say is l'chaim, because as you know, Oleg, being part of the Russian Jewish community in Brooklyn, there's nothing to say to you guys besides for l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Continue pushing forward, continue growing, continue doing what you're doing until 120 in good health. L'chaim.
L'chaim. Thank you so much, Oleg and Olya.
I know that doesn't suffice for the people in Brooklyn. I don't have a straw for the bottle. You guys will excuse me. There's still more to this program. I'd like to actually have my eyes open for it. So thank you guys out of Brooklyn. Really, really amazing, again, to watch them and to watch everything that they're doing. It's just, like Shalom said on the phone, it's a joy to be around them. It's catchy.
Total.
Amazing. Okay, without further ado, I'd like to go to the studio for a beautiful musical, inspirational piece, really produced special for this evening's honorees and for the program here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, out to the studio.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. This incredible live stream event brought to you by Project Inspire. Tonight is a celebration of the honorees, a celebration of Project Inspire, a celebration of bringing Jews together. My name is Aryeh Kunstler. Thank you for having me. Thank you for singing along with me. It's a night of inspiration. So just for a few minutes, sit back, close your eyes, sing along if you know the songs. If you don't, just try and get into the music and join us all together. We're all here as one. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. Salam aleinu v'al kol olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam. Let's go. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. Salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. Salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam. Peace in the world, peace in the world. Everybody's praying for peace in the world. Peace in the world, peace in the world. Everybody's praying for peace in the world. Peace in the world, peace in the world. Everybody's praying for peace in the world. Peace in the world. Salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu v'al kol haolam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu v'al kulam. This next song is a song I wrote, and I did a collaboration with an artist from Israel, Yosef Karduner. And I wrote it right before 2020, and it has the same relevance in today's world as it does back then. With all the craziness going on in the world, it's our connection to God that makes us stronger. And even when it seems like all hope is lost, and even when it seems that God may have abandoned us, He's there. He's just waiting to hear our cries. This is Kaylee. מסתכל אני על העולם, יש הרבה דאגה, איפה הגאולה? כמה דמעות מן העיניים שוברות לי את הלב כמו גשם משמיים. אני קורא יומם ולילה, מחפש את ידך, מחפש למצוא תשובה. אנא השם אל תעזבני ותצילני, אבא אנחנו בצרה. קיילי למה עזבתני רחוק משועתי דברי שאגתי קיילי קיילי למה עזבתני רחוק משועתי דברי שאגתי I feel alone in all this darkness, trying to be a light in a world that's cold and heartless. I look around and all I see is fear. So many broken hearts, oceans full of tears. I'm calling to you, yet still you hide. I'm calling to you, don't you hear my cry? Ana Hashem al tazveni, please come and save me. My arms are open wide. Kaylee, oh Kaylee, lama azavtani, rachok mishuati, divrei shagati. Kaylee, oh Kaylee, lama azavtani, rachok mishuati, divrei shagati. Ana anenu biyom koreinu. Ana anenu biyom koreinu. Ana anenu Kaylee, oh Kaylee, lama azavtani, rachok mishuati, divrei shagati. Kaylee, oh Kaylee, lama azavtani, rachok mishuati, divrei shagati. Oh Kaylee.
Wow, thank you so much for that. It's really, really beautiful. And again, you know,
Great.
it's funny, Rabbi Samson, because we're also able to put together musical components that are really specific for our honorees and for the message that we're trying to give off today. It's really beautiful. So thank you guys out there in the studio. Thank you so much for that. Without further ado, I'd like to go to somebody who we had the honor of hearing from actually last year by this, you know, same program. Someone who has been inspiring the Jewish people for, I'm going to say 40 years. Can I say 40 years?
Decades.
Decades, yeah. But
More than
40,
that.
40 years sounds good. Decades means like it's 11 years. You know,
But
it's
he's
more
a
than
living
a decade.
legend. He's a living legend.
A living legend is true. And
he
without
should continue.
Yeah, he should go. He should continue with good health, you know, for many years as well. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go out to Rabbi Pesach Kron.
I'm deeply grateful to Rabbi Mordechai Trapp and to Rabbi Chaim Samson for having invited me to come to speak to all of you at this Inspire presentation. Project Inspire has a wonderful mission statement. Basically what it says is inspire yourself so that you can inspire others. I would like to share with you a beautiful story that Reb Simcha told me a number of years ago. I can never forget it. What a great lesson and what a great experience it was to hear it from him. You see, Simcha, many years ago, before he became a Baal Tshuva, he and his brother, well, he was Steve in those days and his brother was Mitch. Today his brother's Michael, but they grew up in Long Island. They were identical twins. You could not tell them apart. And it wasn't only that they were identical twins. They had identical hobbies, identical interests, identical friends, and they both went to the same schools and got the same job. Now, but while they were early or late teenagers, they decided in the 1980s they were going to go on a tour. You see, they both loved to bike, and they would take biking tours throughout the world. And in this particular trip, what they were going to do, they were going to go to New Zealand. And as they came to the bottom of the Southern Alps, There was an 8-mile hill that they were going to have to climb. And Simcha told me it was almost like it was like a straight hill. It was so hard, it was so difficult. It was almost like climbing up a wall. It was just terrible. And what Simcha told me was that he noticed he wasn't the lead rider in this bike tour, and there were some in front of him. And he noticed something very interesting, that because every little bit of weight that was being carried in the backpack would make a difference, if they wanted to get to the top of that mountain, they were going to have to get rid of some of that baggage. And so somebody opened up a backpack and they threw out an extra wrench, a heavy book, or a broken helmet. And that's what he started doing as well. And eventually they were all able to get to the top of that mountain. And he told me that a few years later, when he became a Baal Tshuva, he realized that that ride up the mountain in the South Island was very symbolic. You see, because he said, if I wanted to get to the spiritual mountain of becoming religious, I realized that I had a lot of secular baggage that I was carrying that I would have to get rid of. And to me, that was an incredible, what an allegory. That ride up the mountain, getting rid of the baggage. I was amazed. Now, he told it to me one morning on Yontif. We had davening in the first minyan in Kew Gardens, where I live. And after he left, and my children came home, they were davening in the second minyan. And I said to my children, I told them this story. And my son, Avram Zelig, said, that's a pasuk. That's a verse in Tehillim. I said, what pasuk are you talking about? And listen to what he said. David HaMelech writes in Tehillim Chav Daled, Perik Gimel, pasuk Gimel and Daled, Mi Yale Bahar Hashem. Who is the one who can climb on the mountain of God? Umi Yakum B'Mkaim Koche. Who can stay up in that holy place? And the next pasuk says, Neki Chapayim, the one who has clean hands, or bar levav, and a pure heart. And what he said, what does clean hands mean? You got to get rid of the baggage. Mi Yala Bahar Hashem, you want to get up on that holy mountain, the mountain of God? You want to become religious? You want to become committed? Well, Neki Chapayim, you got to get rid of some of that secular baggage that you've been carrying all these years. And the Oilelos Ephraim, who's actually the Klei Yakar, says something amazing. And he said, if you're carrying a masa means a load, you got to get rid of it. You're not going to make it up to the mountain. And he says masa, which is spelled mem, shin or sin, aleph, stands for momain, simlais, and oichel. Momain means money, simlais is clothes, oichel is food. We all need money, we all need clothes, we all need food. But if that's your obsession in life, all you want is money, or all you want is fancy clothes and fancy food, and you're going to restaurants all the time, you're not going to make it up to that spiritual mountain. So you got to get rid of that masa. That cannot be the priority in life. And I thought that was so fabulous. Just like Simcha Barnett was inspired himself and is inspiring others, we all have the obligation to inspire others. That's the idea of this wonderful organization of Inspired. Now I want to tell you something. And to me, this is very sad when you think about these statistics. In the world today, there are 15 million Jews. 86% of Jews in the world are not committed. Now, could you imagine you're walking down the block and you know that on the corner there's a man who's got 5 sons, a religious man, and 4 out of his 5 sons are not committed to the life that the father would want them to be committed to. That's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. And when you think about it, our Father in heaven, imagine how sad he must be. Seriously, when you think about that, 4 out of 5 of his children, and there are millions of them, are not committed. Who's going to change that? We have to change it. We who have second and third cousins, we who have neighbors, we who have co-workers who are not yet committed to Yiddishkeit, to Judaism, we have to work on that. That's our job. We have to help. Now, you know, the Torah tells us, and we say in Shema, V'yahavta es Hashem Elokecha. You should love God. And the Sifri mentions something very interesting. The Sifri says, you know, when you love someone, you're always talking about him. Avram was the first Kiruv professional. He loved God. He realized that there's a God in this world. And wherever he went, he was telling people they've got to become committed to Hashem. And that's what the Sifri writes. Avosai al kol habriyos. We must make sure that God is beloved by everyone, just like Avram did. As the Pasuk says, Ves hanefesh asher osa b'choron. The souls that he made in Choron. That means that the people that came to Avram, he told them about God, the greatness of God, and the kindness of God. And he was Magayer, he converted all these people, and he brought them to love Hashem. And that's what, every occasion that you can, use it. Hanukkah is coming, tell your co-workers about Hanukkah. Get them a book about it. Get them involved in a lecture. Let them listen to a lecture. Talk to them about the beauty of the holiday. Shabbos is coming, invite them. Bring them a challah. Do something that shows the beauty of the holiday. Sukkot is coming. Is there any more beautiful holiday than Sukkot? You bring them to a sukkah, you show them what it is, you tell them the significance, whether it's the holiday of Pesach, whatever it might be. That's what Kiruv is all about, to show them the beauty of what Yiddishkeit is all about. Now, I just want to tell you one more thing. A number of years ago, I was in Ukraine, and I went to the forest of Babi Yar. Babi Yar is so sad. It's a forest where the greatest slaughter of Jews took place in 2 days. 33,000 Jews were killed in that area within a period of 2 days. And of course, I prepared a whole talk that I was going to speak to the group that I was leading. And there's a big, if you go online, you'll see it, a big, beautiful menorah that's there. And then, if you go online, you won't see what I saw when I got there, because there's like a little stone plaque, if you want to call it that, but it's a stone, and it must be about 2 or 3 feet high. When you put the menorah on Babi Yar, you put it online, you won't see it. But when I got there, I saw it, and engraved on that stone was a pasuk, was a verse from the Torah. And the Torah tells us, after Cain killed Hevel, God, Bereshis Dalet Pasuk Yud, says to Cain, Ma asisa, what did you do? Koil demei achicha tzoyakim elai menu adama. The bloods of your brother are crying out to me from the ground. And the commentary is this, what do you mean the bloods? He killed his brother Hevel. What do you mean the bloods? And Rashi tells us, Domoi, not only his blood, the dam zaraisa, the bloods of his children. And to me, that was so poignant. That was the perfect verse, the perfect pasuk to put at Babi Yar. Because it wasn't only 33,000 that were killed. It was 300,000. And 6 million is a lie. It's 60 million. Because if those 6 million Jews in Europe would have been left alive, we would have 60 million people that would still be alive today, or the descendants of those people. And you know something? That's how you have to look at it. When you try to bring somebody back to the fold and teach them about Yiddishkeit, you're not only teaching them, you're teaching their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren. Rav Noach Weinberg, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, he always used to talk about the 48 ways. In Pirkei Avos, Perek Vov, Mishnah Gimel, it tells us there are 48 ways to acquire Torah. One of them is Noisei Ba'oil Chaverei. Noisei Ba'oil Chaverei means to carry the burden of your friend. Part of carrying the burden is a spiritual burden. Becoming involved in Inspire, being people like the people of Inspire that become motivated and motivate others. So I just want to end with a mission statement and give you advice how to bring it to reality. The mission statement of Inspire is to empower committed Jews to take responsibility to create a vibrant and unified Jewish people by sharing the beauty and wisdom of our common heritage with fellow Jews. How are you going to do it? Here's how. We know in the Torah, in Parshas Vayetze, it tells us a story that Yaakov went and he met the shepherds. And Vayem Alehem Yaakov. And Yaakov sees the shepherds, they're with the sheep, and he says, Achai, my brothers, Miyayin atem, where you guys from? And they tell him they're from Choron, and they get into a whole discussion. Does he know Lavan? And then that's when Rachel came. And Rabbi Yaakov asked a very interesting question. Yaakov met these shepherds for the very first time. And he calls them Achai, my brothers. He doesn't even know them. Well, he's talking to them as if they're his pal. And Yaakov Kamenetsky said something fabulous. He said, you see, Yaakov wanted to rebuke them. He wanted to improve them. You see, they had brought in the sheep much earlier than they were supposed to. The sheep really could have been grazing out there. It wasn't the right time to bring them in. But he knew that you cannot criticize someone. You cannot tell someone to be better if they don't feel you love them. And then the next pasuk says, Vayomer, he says, Oid hayom gadol, the day is great, the sheep still could be grazing out there. That's why he called them Achai. And that's the key to Kiruv. The key to Kiruv is to love your fellow brother and sister that's Jewish, even though they might not be on the level that you are yet. But you gotta love them. You gotta respect them. You gotta validate them. And when you do that, that's how you're gonna be successful. Hashem should bless all the wonderful people in the Inspire organization. Hashem should bless all of us, that we should be able to accomplish and bring all the brothers and sisters closer to Hashem. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Rabbi Pesach Krohn just never ceases to amaze with his content and really profound inspiration. What better way to promote this program and to gel this program together with a story like that from Rabbi Pesach Krohn.
Pesach Krohn, I mean, it's such a schus of merit to have him, and it speaks from the heart, and it's such a personal, beautiful story. So thank you so much, Rabbi Krohn.
As always. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have on the phone with us here Menachem Weiss. And why is Menachem Weiss so significant? Because Menachem Weiss is someone who we just put on the spot, which is amazing. Always love doing that. Whose father and mother, Leiby and Aviva Weiss, from Toronto, Canada, are being honored at this Champions of Inspiration program here this evening. Amazing. So, Menachem, are you here with us from Canada? Is that where you are?
I am. That's where we are, Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. Where else? Okay, so Menachem, I want to ask you, I mean, I love putting people on the spot, so let me ask you, your parents are, I don't know if you had the honor of being on a trip, on a program together with them and watching them in action. Your father, Leiby, with the men, your mother, Aviva, with the women. Just amazing to watch. It's worth me going on these programs to stand by and to watch them in action. Always involving, always engaging, always growing in their own right. As a son, I'm asking you, you're married, you have your own family, but what does it mean to you to watch your parents as people who are leaders and givers, both in the physical sense, but of course in the spiritual sense, to so many people? What does that mean to you?
Honestly, it's an inspiration, and it's kind of something that I'm hoping to be able to do and get over similarly to my own children.
Wow.
I've heard a lot about the trips actually from my parents, and if it all works out, I'm actually hoping to go on a trip myself.
Wow.
We heard about
May.
that. We heard about that, and we're very excited. Like father, like son.
I'm
right?
also. So.
Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and watching them, it's amazing because, there are some people, let's talk, like they say in my country, in Israel, Dugri, straightforward. There are some parents who their kids watch them and say to themselves, well, this is great for them. I just don't know if that's for me. There's obviously something in them that you see in terms of their engagement, in terms of their involvement, that, you're saying to yourself, I'd hope to be able to do this myself. What is it about them that you see in them?
Selfishly, I think it gives you a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment, and being able to get that feeling through doing such outstanding work. I think there's nothing better and no better way to kind of get that feeling.
Yeah.
On a selfless note, I can tell you I see what they do also, and it's definitely not only for that selfish feeling. It's really doing things for a college show and just for the greater good, for the bigger picture, and really doing whatever they feel is right and helping how they're able to help.
Well, that's amazing, Menachem. And I just want to tell you that, as I mentioned, you should have, the schus to, the merit to continue to watch them in action. We hope to be able to see you in action as well. It's really you, your entire family, and of course your parents are an inspiration to everyone who really engages with them. And may that pass down to generations, and just a little spark should continue to pass down to all of you that are involved. Thank you so much, Menachem, for being on with us. And really, it's a great honor to honor your parents. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. And we'll see you on that trip. We have you on live radio here, so we're going to hold you to it, Menachem.
If you come, I'll come.
You got it.
Looking forward, Menachem, very much.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go out to Toronto, Canada, and bring in the honoree film of our Champions of Inspiration to Leiby and Aviva Weiss out in Toronto, Canada.
Hi, my name is Leiby Weiss.
I grew up in a house where kiruv was done before it was popular. My father is from South America, and he actually taught the non-religious boys. We lived close to the village shul, so growing up we always had people as guests, so it was sort of something that I was always introduced to. It was always part of us.
I've always been involved and interested in kiruv and sort of the relationship part of reaching out to our brothers and sisters. We all come from the same parents, from the same grandparents. We're all one. It's just history that makes us different. I was involved with Aish before it kind of grew. It was on Wilson Avenue, and I went there to sort of volunteer my time, and I learned with somebody.
I think Leiby was always involved with the Jewish community. I think he was the president of our shul, Shomer Shabbos, at one point. I think he was involved with the Chevra Kadisha in the community. He's always been involved with Chesed, and he's been a man who exudes Chesed all the time. So it's very natural that he got involved with Project Inspire in the way that he did.
They got married a little over 30 years ago. They moved into 120 Shelbourne, and consistently since the very beginning, anybody who moved into town, anybody who came to shul, knew that it was a matter of time and short time before they were invited to Leiby and Aviva's Shabbos table.
Leiby and Aviva have always been passionate about kiruv. I mean, their hachnasas orchim is great, and they've always had guests over.
I've been on a number of trips with Leiby. He really, truly represents Torah values.
He's a real people person, and he knows how to speak to people, and he knows how to explain things on people's level.
So I've known him for 30 years. So we were in school together, colleagues, friends. So several years ago, life threw me a curveball, and Leiby just kind of stepped up to the plate and helped me out and got me to understand certain things I didn't know or understand before. He's just been very encouraging and inspiring.
On one of the first Israel trips that I was on, we take the guys down to the Kotel, and it's after we've been in Israel for a couple of days already, and they're sort of ready for it. And we go down to the Kotel, and they stand at the Kotel, and you go over to them and offer them tefillin, put tefillin on them, and we make a bracha with them, and then I say Shema Yisrael, they say Shema Yisrael, and they burst out crying. And they say, I don't know why I'm crying. But there's something there that connects. There's something about the neshama and the kedusha, and when you experience something like that, you realize that this is real, and this is impactful for them.
I am always in awe of when Aviva is on a mission, how much she dedicates herself to the people and making sure that everyone has an amazing experience and making sure that everyone understands what's going on. We take for granted what's going on at the Kosel, what's going on at a Friday night table, but Aviva can always see what someone is experiencing.
So Aviva is an extrovert, and she's got a lot of energy, very high energy person, and I think that that's infectious. I think that she bonds with people in a very real and sort of easy way.
People don't need you to sit down and teach them. They're so happy to watch and see a Shabbos table and see parents interacting with the kids and seeing how we run things and that we're interested in their lives. We might not have frumkeit in common, but there are so many other things that we have in common that there's so many conversations that you can have with people.
What makes Leiby and Aviva so effective at what they do is the sincerity. Every single day they wake up, and before they go to bed, they have done countless things for other people, and this is who they are.
I think they're really themselves. So, and people sense that when people meet them, they realize there's no show, there's no mask. They're what you see is what you get, and they're very authentic.
They're role models for other Jews, and they really connect with Jews of all affiliations. Because of the role they've taken within Project Inspire, the many trips that they've gone on, that they've inspired other Jews, encouraged them to get involved as well. Just by their involvement, that's been their impact on Project Inspire just on their own.
They've decided to make it their own personal mission to impact people, to go on missions with them, to invite them to learn, to invite them to their Shabbos table, to share their sukkah with them, to share their Purim Suda with them. Leiby and Aviva are always open to sharing what's going on and the beauty of Yiddishkeit with all of the people that they encounter.
In addition to everything that they put into Project Inspire, they are such amazing parents and grandparents, and to watch them be there for their family and at the same time have so much time to do Project Inspire activities and countless other acts of chesed and outreach is inspirational.
They're an example of people that care for Klal Yisrael and who are willing to give of their time to take another Jew under their wing.
But this is something that affects everyone in the whole world. It doesn't matter whether you're Hasidish, whether you're Litvish, whether you're YU, whether you're Yeshiva. It doesn't matter. This is something that everyone can do, because at the end of the day, we're all brothers and sisters.
Honestly, I'm doing this because I'm a regular guy. I have no special training in this. I'm a busy guy like everybody else, and I really hope that will inspire somebody else out there to take some time and to do this, because I really believe it's really important. If you had a brother and he was off doing something and you could impact his life in a positive way, you would do that. And these are all our brothers.
I really wish for them the strength to be able to keep going and to keep increasing and to bring friends and others that they know into the same mahalach that they have in helping Klal Yisrael.
I wish that they should continue having brachas in everything they do, hatzlach in everything they do, and continue having the impact that they're having on the entire community.
May HaKadosh Baruch Hu give you the health, strength, and resources to continue to do this together. B'simcha, ad me'eh v'esrim shana.
Ladies and gentlemen, Leiby and Aviva Weiss out of Toronto, Canada. And Chaim, in that film, of course, Dr. Stuart Heitman, he and his wife Andrea are our founding partners in Project Inspire. Really, they're, of course, mechutanim, because, they're both from Toronto, of course. That goes without saying. But really, I think that matzah min esmino, I think, they found like-minded people in being able to join force in their kids, as we heard from Menachem.
Absolutely. I mean, they are really quite incredible people. I think that they would be shocked to hear this, because they themselves, would not think that about themselves. But I remember when we were speaking to them before, and we were discussing this whole idea, and I remember that we were coming up to our Tampa trip, and she mentioned that, she has a friend that she met, I think in the gym, who she's bringing. So that's pretty good, And then Leiby mentions, and I also have a guy that I'm bringing. So it's like, it's really impressive how they, really get at the message, and they have the depth of care. And not just care, but, you're really reaching out and sharing the beauty of what we have of Judaism with our fellow Jew, which is Project Inspire is really all about. They are living and breathing it in a way that's so profoundly beautiful and touching, but also so authentic and so real and so simple and obvious to them. Most people are like, I don't know what to do, but they just get on with it, they do it, and it's nothing to them.
Literally. And I have nothing else to say besides for
l'chaim. We're going to make l'chaim to
the Weisses out in Toronto. Do they drink in Canada? Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to take an Uber back, but thank you.
L'chaim to the Weisses, l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Of course, and it was great seeing you, Stuart, of course, on that beautiful film as well. May you continue to inspire Klal Yisrael, to really give of everything you have, your entire being, over to Klal Yisrael, and that, they're really, I mean, to think about how that shidduch came to be, you know, that Leiby and Stuart and Andrea and just amazing people. So thank you out there.
It's an amazing shidduch.
And every city needs something positive about them. So you guys really exemplify that, you know. Anyways, beautiful. Not much else. I think all the restaurants closed down by now anyway. But really, they're amazing out there in Toronto, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of our program here this evening. I mean, if I could see straight anymore after all these l'chaims, but really, what an amazing thing. We got to hear from, of course, Rabbi Simcha and Aviva Barnett. We got to hear from David and Jordanagresson out on the island. We went back to Brooklyn to hear Oleg and Olya Sayitsky, and to hear, of course, from Shalom Horowitz, and of course, going out to Toronto and hearing from Leiby and his son Menachem, really speaking so beautifully about them. We heard from Michal Barnett, his twin brother, Rabbi Simcha Barnett, in terms of, you know, how he feels about his brother. And really, this has been amazing. Of course, we heard from Rabbi Pesach Kron. And we went out to the studio to hear, of course, more music, and we're going to head right back to the studio after this. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching this, and maybe this is your first program you're watching of Project Inspire, and you're saying to yourself, like, really? Do these people have a degree in inspiration that they're actually reaching out to other people? And Rabbi Samson, I think that the people that we meet who have no degree in this, they're just genuinely good people who know that they have what to share because they know anything. Right. You know, anything, you have what to share, you're able to engage people, and I think that's really the message that we're seeing from all our honorees here this evening.
Yes, I think that the depth of it is how much you really care. And I think all of our honorees, what makes them more special, and each person in their own way, but each one of these people care with a depth that motivates them to do, and that's what we're about. Care, feel the pain of people, feel the joy of people, and share what you have to help another person. And all of these people are doing it in remarkable and very special and unique ways, using their own personalities and their strengths to do that. And it's really profound. And as I said at the beginning, the joy that I have just thinking about these people, it's incredible. We're thankful to all of you, and we're in it together with you, and we're going to really share our heritage with the whole of the Jewish people together with you. We can't thank you enough.
You know, and ladies and gentlemen, it's amazing. You know, these are just but a few of the heroes, of the champions of inspiration that are involved in Project Inspire. You, watching this here today, could be involved as well. Don't hesitate. Get involved in Project Inspire. Spread the message. And you too will be and will continue to be a champion of inspiration yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this program here this evening, I want to thank Rabbi Chaim Samson.
I want to thank you, Yossi. You were great.
Thank you.
Especially after L'Chaim's.
L'Chaim, yeah, we can go on and on. You know, keep drinking. We have 3/4 of a bottle.
We're going to go on even after this is over.
3/4 of a bottle left over here. I want to thank you all for watching and for participating. ProjectInspire.com is where you can get involved today. Ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude, let's go back out to the studio for one final beautiful musical inspiration. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yossi Friedman alongside Rabbi Chaim Samson, the founding director of Project Inspire. We thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
So as we close out this evening, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. I want to thank Project Inspire for having me and for putting on this incredible live stream. And I want to thank all the honorees. One of the most essential parts of the Jewish people has been our unity. And Am Yisrael Chai. We live on, we're strong together. We're stronger together. Another aspect is gratitude. And thank you all for joining me, for joining Project Inspire, and thank you Hashem for all the good and for everything that He does for us in our lives. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Oh Davinu, oh Davinu, oh Davinu 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 Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Or Avinu Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Or Avinu Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Or Avinu Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Or Avinu Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Or Avinu Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Or Avinu Chai. הפעם אודה את השם, הפעם אודה את השם, הפעם אודה את השם, כי לעולם חסדו. Andilalai, thank you Hashem, Andilalai, thank you Hashem, Andilalai, thank you Hashem, thank you Hashem. תודה רבה לך השם יברך, תודה רבה לך השם יברך, תודה רבה לך השם יברך. Thank you השם, הודו להשם כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו, הודו להשם כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. הודו להשם כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו, הודו להשם כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו. הפעם מודה את השם, הפעם מודה את השם, הפעם מודה את השם, לעולם חסדו. הפעם מודה את השם, הפעם מודה את השם, הפעם מודה את השם, כי לעולם חסדו. To you, Andilalai, oh Andilalai, oh Andilalai, oh thank you Hashem, Andilalai, thank you Hashem, Andilalai, thank you Hashem, did you know thank you Hashem, thank you Hashem. השם יברך, תודה רבה לך השם יברך, תודה רבה לך השם יברך. Thank you Hashem, thank you Hashem, thank you Hashem.